Recap. Tales of Herding Gods, Chapter 519, Chapter. I have counted 23 winters and summers. Chinmu spoke with a calm yet self-mocking tone, as if recounting the passing of fleeting clouds. Yet these 23 years have slipped through my fingers like sand. I have gained nothing worthy of pride. Each thought of it brings endless sighs, and tears fall though no sound is heard. Divine Physician Qin, at merely 23, you already stand above countless others. Such achievements are nothing short of miraculous. Xing'an turned his body, lifting the mirror in his hand as though seeking truth within its depths. His voice carried sincere admiration. Not only do you command the Heavenly Devil cult, ruling over 1 million practitioners of divine arts at such a young age, but you also hold exalted titles, the Grand Chancellor of Heavenly Saint Academy, and even the mantle of Human Emperor. You possess boundless wealth, and your connections span the world. Tell me how many in this realm could rival what you have accomplished at 23? There is only you. He raised the mirror, attempting to capture the youth's reflection. Yet within its surface, there was nothing. Startled, he heard Chinmu's voice already drifting into the distance like wind through valleys. Fatty Dragon! Fatty Dragon! Tell those divine arts practitioners who have just arrived not to wander the night. This is the Great Ruins. Death awaits them beyond the walls. Those with loud voices, come and shout it across the city. No one is to leave after dark. Xing'an quietly lowered the mirror and strode after him. When Chinmu finally paused for a fleeting moment, Xing'an again lifted the mirror, attempting to seize his image. But once more, the reflection was empty, as though the youth did not exist beneath heaven and earth. From afar, Chinmu's voice echoed again. Yushu, can you gather a few painters from the palace? Brother Xing'an has given me a drawing. I must replicate it 1,000 times and spread it across the empire. Xing'an's brows rose slightly, a flicker of suspicion stirring in his heart. If the one Luli seeks is truly him, why would he not examine that jade pendant drawing with utmost care? Have I grown overly wary? Then why does he evade me again and again? His steps quickened as he caught up once more, his gaze sharpening like a blade. If he dares to flee again, I will bind him in place with my cultivation. At that moment, the well-rounded young lady of the Ling family glanced upon the painting and gasped softly, astonishment coloring her voice. This jade pendant, I feel as though I have seen it before. Xing'an's attention snapped toward her, all thoughts of Chinmu instantly cast aside. Princess of the Ling family, are you certain you have seen this before? Ling Yuxiu had long commanded troops upon the northern frontier. The biting winds and snowfields had tempered her, leaving her skin pale as frost and her bearing resolute. Though she had entered the bloom of youth and her features had grown more refined, her figure still retained a gentle fullness. Upon returning to the capital to report her duties, she found Chinmu establishing between life and death. Seizing the chance, she journeyed to Border Dragon City, not only to meet her beloved, but also to temper herself further through experience. I have seen it once, Ling Yuxiu replied. Years of military life had sharpened her demeanor, lending her a maturity beyond her age. Yet she still favored male attire, her bearing exuding a carefree elegance. It was within one of the ruins in the Great Ruins. The Great Ruins? Xing'an's heart trembled violently, as though struck by thunder. Was it carried by a young man? Not exactly. I only saw inscriptions of this kind within the ruin. There were also swaddling cloths and a wooden horse. It seemed that a child had once lived there. Chinmu cast a glance toward Xing'an, who had fallen silent once more. It was clear he was communicating with the strange eye hidden within his life and death divine treasure. Chinmu's gaze shifted curiously to the mirror in Xing'an's hand. The man had persistently tried to aim it at him, which was precisely why Chinmu had kept avoiding it. Senior brother Xing'an? Chinmu said lightly, his eyes gleaming with playful curiosity. You seem quite fond of carrying mirrors. Could it be some extraordinary treasure? Lend it to me for a moment. I suspect I've grown a blemish on my face, and I wish to see. Piak. Before his words could finish, Xing'an's palm struck his hand away. He swiftly stuffed the mirror into his Tao Ti sack, his expression indifferent. Do not touch my belongings. You are poisonous. Princess Ling, where exactly is the place you visited? Can you lead me there? Having already communed with the strange eye within his divine treasure, it was likely that the entity had urged him to investigate further. Ling Yushu hesitated briefly before speaking. I still intend to make a journey to Fengdu, so I cannot accompany you. However, I remember the route well enough. I can draw it for you. Xing'an nodded in acknowledgement. Ling Yushu requested brush and ink from Qinmu and began to sketch a geographical map. As she finished, Xing'an asked calmly, Is the place dangerous? Ling Yushu smiled faintly. If it were dangerous, how could I have returned alive? And besides, in this world, who could be stronger than Senior Xing'an? Xing'an returned her smile. If you could return safely, then so can I. Divine Physician Qin, you will accompany me. Qinmu hesitated, scratching his head. Senior brother, if you are merely heading to the great ruins in search of a person, why must I come? I have already aided you in searching, and I will continue spreading his portrait throughout eternal peace. The moment any clue surfaces, I shall inform you. You may pursue the Jade Pendant's trail while I head to the Hall of Human Emperors to pay respects. If I delay further, the past human emperors might drag me down to join them ahead of time. Xing'an lowered his gaze to the map Ling Yushu had drawn, his tone suddenly cold and serious. Princess Ling, if I do not find the inscription upon that jade pendant there, you are well aware of the consequences. Your Ling family will be erased from this world. Ling Yushu's body trembled slightly, though she forced a smile upon her face. I have not deceived you. Without another word, Xing'an turned and departed. Qinmu and Ling Yushu both released quiet breaths of relief. Ling Yushu wiped the sweat from her brow, about to speak, but Qinmu raised a hand sharply, silencing her. Their eyes met. Without words, they understood one another. In the next instant, their primordial spirits slipped free from their bodies, streaking across the heavens. After traveling tens of thousands of miles away from Border Dragon City, Ling Yushu's primordial spirit finally spoke. Coward, what kind of place is that? Is it truly safe? The fate of my entire Ling family rests upon this. Her question stemmed from the fact that earlier, while Xing'an had been distracted, Qinmu had secretly used the brainwave communication of the Heavenly Feather Clan to guide her in drawing the map. Among the Heavenly Feather Clan, no words were needed. Thoughts alone sufficed. With but a shift in consciousness, intentions were conveyed. They moved in perfect unity, swift and seamless. Though this method bore a fatal flaw, it was unparalleled when it came to preserving secrets. Do not worry, Qinmu's primordial spirit replied calmly. Everything you told Xing'an can indeed be found there. However, he will gain nothing of value. If he arrives and immediately turns back, he can still escape. But should he press deeper in search of more clues, whether he emerges again will depend entirely upon his own wisdom. In the past, when Village Chief and the others intruded upon that place, they nearly lost their lives. It was Grandpa Mute who rescued them. After Xing'an returns, he will not harm you, for you did not lie. The place Xing'an sought was one they had once suspected to be Carefree Village, a colossal vessel forged by the Heavenly Works god race, yet they had never reached their destination. Instead, they had been ambushed and trapped alongside the ship within an immense, incomprehensible cube. The Heavenly Works god race had spent countless generations sacrificing countless lives to allow a single child to escape the seal. Qinmu suspected that child to be Mute. After all, it was Mute who had led Village Chief and the others out. If Xing'an merely brushed against that place and withdrew, he could still escape. But should he step within, the seals would bind him without mercy. Ling Yushu let out a long breath of relief. Why is Xing'an searching for you? That jade pendant clearly belongs to you. Qinmu shook his head. I do not know either. However, within his life and death realm lurks an existence of terrifying power. Xing'an must have been coerced by it. I saw only its eye, not its full form. Yet for Xing'an to have fallen into Yudu and returned alive, that eye must belong to a devil god of Yudu. Ling Yushu frowned. What if Xing'an escapes? Qinmu smiled faintly. That place should confine him for half a year. Once he emerges, we shall continue aiding him in searching for the Jade Pendant youth. His gaze grew peculiar as he lowered his voice. When he returns, he will discover that whether in Middle Earth, West Earth, the grasslands, the snow plains, or even the great ruins, this Jade Pendant appears everywhere. Can you guess why? Ling Yushu rolled her eyes. I know you're capable. Stop boasting. Qin Mu laughed softly, and their primordial spirits returned to their physical forms. Night had already descended upon the world. Beside the river of between life and death, a pleasure boat prepared to depart. Hu Linger and Si Yunxiang ushered aboard those who had paid their fare. The vessel drifted along the river that stretched across the heavens, bound for Fengdu. Ling Yuxiu was among its passengers. Outside the city, Qin Mu stepped into the darkness. Behind him followed the dragon Qilin, perched atop a chest overflowing with fruits and offerings. The chest grumbled silently, displeased at its burden, yet it could do nothing. Qin Mu had forcefully stuffed everything into its belly. The Hall of Human Emperors, like Little Jade Capital, it is another shattered fragment of the founding emperor's celestial heavens. Qin Mu's eyes flickered as he strode through the night, a black lump clenched in his hand. Second Ancestor and the others did not tell me where to go, only that I must activate the human emperor's seal. But how will it guide me? His vital chi surged into the seal, causing it to tremble faintly. It was unlike the previous time he had invoked it. Back then, he had witnessed the suffering of humanity after the fall of the founding emperor era. The consciousness within the seal had burst forth, spreading across the world. Yet that time, village chief and numerous experts had aided him. Now, alone, he could not unleash such a call. As Qin Mu continued to probe with his vital chi, his heart suddenly jolted. His energy had touched a hidden marking within the seal. In the next instant, the human emperor's seal trembled, and a beam of light shot forth, striking his eyes before vanishing. Qin Mu shook his head, blinking. When he opened his eyes again, a strand of light descended from the void, landing precisely beneath his feet. Startled, he turned. Fatty dragon, do you see this light? The dragon Qilin stirred from slumber, lifting its head groggily. What light? So only I can see it. Qin Mu swiftly produced a mirror and gazed into it. Within his pupils, a strange rune flickered. That must be the reason. So this is the path to the Hall of Human Emperors. Without hesitation, Qin Mu followed the guiding light. At the same time, village chief returned to Fengdu. The city was alive with an eerie bustle. A great river stretched through the heavens, spanned by a bridge crowded with gods and devils. Beneath it, a pleasure boat carried rows of skeletal passengers. What is this spectacle? Village chief stood astonished. Suddenly, his eyes caught sight of human Emperor Qi Kang upon the bridge. His face lit up and he waved enthusiastically. Old man Qi Kang! Over here! I've returned. I bring astounding news. Something about the Overlord body. He, you'll never believe it. 40,000 years ago, the Overlord body truly appeared. Come quickly. I have a rubbing of the inscription. Human Emperor Qi Kang leapt down from the bridge, pointing sternly at village chief. Do not move. Stay exactly where you are. I will summon Second Ancestor and the others. Village chief blinked, smiling. Aren't you going to examine the inscription first? To enjoy alone is not as good as sharing with all, Qi Kang replied earnestly. Let us wait for the other human emperors, then we shall read it together. Village chief narrowed his eyes slightly, puzzled. This old fellow. That smile. Why does it seem so familiar? And why is he being so courteous today? Translator Atlas Studios, editor Atlas Studios. What are those human emperors stirring up this time? Why is the commotion so overwhelming? Within Fengdu City, King Yama stood before the hall of King Qin, his gaze piercing into the depths of the city. Before his eyes, palaces crumbled one after another like collapsing mountains, and he frowned slightly as he spoke with suspicion. Are the disciples rebelling again and beating their masters? The strikes look merciless. A colossal bird swept across the heavens, descending with a gust of wind before transforming into the bird-headed god. Chishu. He leisurely preened his feathers and shook his head. King Yama has misjudged the situation. It is not the disciples striking their masters, but the masters joining hands with their ancestors to besiege the final disciple. Human Emperor Su has returned, only to be beaten by his master, Grandmaster, and all the ancestors together. The beating is truly miserable, yet even if he wished to die, he would not be able to. King Yama was greatly astonished. Have they altered the rules? I do not know either, but it seems to concern the Overlord body. Human Emperor Su brought back an inscription, claiming it recorded the legend of the Overlord body from 40,000 years ago. The Second Ancestor and the others listened with smiles, yet afterward, they surrounded him and began beating him. God Chishu paused briefly before continuing. Afterward, when human Emperor Su tried to resist, he was beaten even more miserably. They spoke of how he deceived the masters and ancestors, how he schemed against them and allowed the little human emperor to beat them. I only caught fragments, but human Emperor Su is being beaten quite severely. The other gods and devils do not dare step forward to break up the fight. The cult masters of Heavenly Saint Cult are even cheering loudly, wishing for chaos to engulf the entire world. Should I intervene to stop them? King Yama fell silent for a moment before shaking his head. There is no need. If you go, they will simply gang up and beat you as well. Deep into the night, within the boundless darkness of the great ruins, the world was anything but quiet. Countless monsters emerged from the shadows as Xing An hurried past them. A radiant divine light enveloped his body, repelling the encroaching darkness as he followed the direction marked by Ling Yushu. When his gaze fell upon a vast sealed space, his heart trembled. Surrounding the enormous cube were fragments of forest, suspended above, below, left, and right, sealing every face of it. Within that sealed domain lay a gigantic ship, so immense that it dwarfed both the sunship and moonship countless times over. This was the colossal vessel forged by the heavenly works god race of the founding emperor Celestial Heavens, the ark that once sought to reach Carefree Village, the Paramita Ark. The ship was in ruins, its structure shattered, bearing the scars of a brutal and bloody battle. It was precisely because of this devastation that it had been rendered unable to continue its journey. Xing An sensed the lurking danger and hesitated briefly. Yet in the end, he stepped forward and entered. He was the strongest existence in the present world. Though he perceived the peril, he held absolute confidence that he could retreat unscathed at any moment. Before long, he arrived at a small village nestled within the forest. His heart shook as he beheld scenes identical to those depicted on the jade pendant. The little princess of the Ling family did not deceive me. At that very moment, he realized he was not alone. The door of a courtyard stood open, and within, he saw the back of a person. Is this the one I seek? Xing An's heart stirred with excitement. He drew out his mirror and turned, directing its surface toward that figure. The man slowly turned around, revealing a face full of wrinkles. He smiled and let out a soft sound. Ah! Xing An was momentarily stunned. It was merely an elderly man, not the one he had been searching for. The elder carried a chest, and beside him stood an iron forging furnace. You are very strong. Xing An faced him calmly. The boundless energy within your body excites me, like a hunter glimpsing rare prey. It is utterly terrifying. You may well be the most formidable opponent I have encountered in recent years. Ah. The elder's face wrinkled like the peel of a dried tangerine. He smiled broadly and gestured twice. Xing An did not understand his meaning and continued speaking to himself. I wish to collect you, reveal your strongest techniques, and allow me to witness your capabilities. Boom. The furnace beside the elder erupted in a blazing inferno, flames surging 10 miles into the sky. Xing An instantly felt space itself begin to burn. Yet the most terrifying threat did not come from the furnace. It emanated from the elder's body. His dantian burst forth with dazzling brilliance, like a miniature sun exploding with boundless power. Xing An's excitement surged as he saw a divine bridge appear behind the elder, stretching endlessly into the heavens. Upon it stood the elder's primordial spirit, bearing the head of a bird and the body of a man, radiating extreme heat. The primordial spirit leapt forth, crossing the bridge and entering the celestial heavens beyond. Boom! The elder's magic power erupted once more, its blazing heat warping space itself. Suddenly, the chest opened on its own, and countless silver pellets streamed out like flowing water. They enveloped the elder's body, transforming him in an instant into a silver-armored general. 2 streams of silver light condensed into massive hammers, which came crashing down toward Xing An. As the hammer struck, Xing An felt as though he were a stubborn piece of iron upon an anvil, being forcefully forged into the shape the elder desired. How powerful! Your dantian surpasses even those of the God Realm practitioners I have collected. Xing An was filled with indescribable exhilaration. He raised his hand, and ripples spread outward. Behind him, the phantom of a vast ocean manifested, waves roaring toward the heavens. He met the blow head-on, yet was sent flying out of the village. The elder pursued relentlessly, his twin hammers rising and falling as they struck without pause. The two clashed across mountains and forests, their movements swift and unceasing. Xing'an laughed uproariously. A superb body, a superb dantian. You will surely become part of my collection. Yin alone, or yang alone, cannot grant longevity. The path you walk is one of pure yang, fierce and domineering, yet unsustainable. Your strength exacts too great a toll upon your corporeal body, which is why you appear so aged. Unless you refine your body to the god realm, you cannot withstand the divine might of your Dantian furnace. Continue this battle, and you will exceed your limits. Defeat is inevitable. At this moment, the elder was already struggling to endure. Suddenly, he withdrew his hammers. The silver armor flowed downward, forming a silver horse beneath him, and he rode away swiftly. Xing'an gave chase at once, yet suddenly his footing met emptiness. They had entered the domain of the Paramita Ark, where colossal fragments of the shattered vessel lay scattered everywhere. He saw the silver horse beneath the elder begin to slow and understood the truth. Though the elder's Dantian was immensely powerful, it had already damaged his body, leaving him unable to endure much longer. Xing'an pressed forward in pursuit. After a short while, cold sweat formed on his brow. He had lost track of the elder and found himself trapped within a perilous region. Seals filled the surroundings, making each step treacherous. Suddenly, the elder appeared once more, seated calmly at the bow of a small silver boat. At some point, he had even donned a bamboo hat. Xing'an steadied himself, though the corner of his eye twitched. He sought to advance, yet was blocked by a floating seal before him. The elder grinned, revealing that he had no tongue. He drew a finger across his throat in a cutting gesture, and his silver boat drifted away. Xing'an was enraged, yet a sudden familiarity struck him. That smile, he had seen it before. This smile, I have definitely seen it somewhere. He forced himself to calm down, pushing the thought aside as he focused on escaping. Yet, just as he deciphered the first talisman seal, Qinmu's smile suddenly flashed through his mind, overlapping perfectly with that of the mute elder. His composure shattered, and he was struck back by the seal. The smiles of Qinmu and the mute elder aligned almost perfectly, the only difference being that Qinmu's was sincere, while the elder's carried a trace of cunning. Xing'an felt divine blood surge to his throat, but he forcibly suppressed it. I will not be angered. I will not let him disturb my Dao heart. He could no longer endure and spat out a mouthful of divine blood. His face twisted with fury as he roared, Divine Physician Qin, I will never forgive you. Following the guiding light, Qinmu exited the great ruins and journeyed toward the southern borders of eternal peace. The land grew increasingly desolate, filled with venomous creatures and devoid of human presence. Finally, after dawn broke, the guiding light formed into a small door atop a mountain peak before him. No other doors of light appeared on that barren summit. Qinmu surveyed the empty mountains and wild lands. There was nothing but desolation. The dragon Qilin lifted his head, observing the rising sun, and could not help but brighten. Cultmaster, dawn has arrived. Time for breakfast. Qinmu pushed open the door, and brilliant light shone forth. He stepped into it. The dragon Qilin hurried after him. Their figures vanished, and the door of light dimmed before disappearing entirely. Moments later, Qinmu emerged upon a desolate land. Compared to before, this place was even more barren. Before him lay collapsed sacred halls shrouded in fog. Within the mist stood countless tombstones, with burial mounds stretching behind them. Broken fences and crumbling walls stirred a deep sorrow within Qinmu's heart. In the distance, a solitary palace loomed within the fog. Qinmu advanced, surveying his surroundings. The vast space was filled only with tombstones, the silent remnants of Hall of Human Emperors. He approached the first burial mound and read the inscription, Celestial Heaven's West General Wei Ming. Beside it lay a blood-stained shield. At the second mound, the words read, Celestial Heaven's Brave Tiger Guards High Official Ding Yunhe. Beneath it rested a helmet. He continued forward in silence. Even the dragon Qilin, who had been clamoring for food, dared not speak. He tucked his tail and hid his head. Qinmu examined tombstone after tombstone. Many bore no names, their identities lost to time. Named and unnamed graves alike formed a path leading toward the Hall of Human Emperors. After an unknown span of time, he approached a straw hut. Inside sat a dried skeleton, its skull lowered. Beside it lay a collapsed tombstone. Though reduced to bones, the man's tall and sturdy build was evident, his knuckles thick, clearly a master of fist and palm techniques. Qin brushed away the dust from the stone and was stunned. Human Emperor Qi Kang, seeing I have achieved nothing in life, I am too ashamed to erect a tombstone, too ashamed to face my ancestors. I shall die here, leaving my bones unburied. Qin opened his chest, took out candles and offerings, and paid his respects. Exiting, he found another hut nearby. Inside lay severed limbs beside a fallen tombstone, marked only with the unfinished character Su, carved halfway before a broken sword had been embedded into the stone. Qin gaze trembled at the sight of the sword wounds on the severed parts. He bowed in respect. Village chief! He knew that village chief had once come here, seeking death. Yet without passing on the human emperor's seal, he could not die, leaving only these remnants behind. He had not even dared inscribe his full name. At the third hut, he saw the skeleton of human emperor Yishan. Human emperor Yishan, defeated by high heaven. I have no face to meet my teacher. Let future generations not honor me. At the fourth hut, another skeleton held a flower basket. Human emperor Lan Po. I have achieved nothing and failed my teacher's teachings. Qin entered each hut, offering his respects. Before his eyes unfolded 20,000 years of history. In Fengdu, these human emperors quarreled and fought, yet here, their reverence and remorse were laid bare. At last, Qin reached the end of Hall of Human Emperors and saw the figure of a person's back.